I died at 31 in a long-term care facility, 8 years after the car accident that put me in a coma. The last thing I heard was a nurse saying to another, "Poor thing. Her sister visits sometimes, but even she's stopped coming. No one expects her to ever wake up." I wanted to scream that I could hear them, that I'd been aware for months, trapped in a body that wouldn't respond, listening to my sister Victoria and my fiancé Daniel visit less and less frequently, their conversations shifting from hope to relief that I'd never know what happened. What happened was they got married. 6 months after my accident. Had a baby. Built the life we'd planned together while I lay in a hospital bed, aware of every word, powerless to move even a finger. My name is Elena Martinez, and I spent 8 years as a ghost in my own life, listening to my sister live my dreams with my fiancé, while everyone assumed I was brain dead. When I opened my eyes again, I wasn't in the care facility. I was 29, sitting in Daniel's apartment. Our apartment. 3 days before the accident that would steal everything from me. Daniel was at his desk, working late on his architecture project. The same project that would win a major award 2 months after my accident. The same project I'd helped him design, my interior design expertise filling in the gaps his structural knowledge missed. The same project he'd claim full credit for while I lay in a coma. "Babe, can you look at this?" Daniel called. "The lobby space feels off. I need your eye." I walked over on legs that worked, with a brain that processed, with a voice that functioned. "The ceiling height is wrong. You need to raise it another 2 feet and add clear-story windows here, and here for natural light." "Perfect. You're a genius. I don't know what I'd do without you." In my previous life, I'd glowed at his praise. Worked endless hours helping him while my own projects sat unfinished. Convinced myself we were a team. This time, I heard what he didn't say. "I don't know what I'd do without your free labor." "Daniel, whose name is going on this project?" He looked up, surprised. "Mine, obviously. It's my commission. But I'm designing half of it." "You're helping. That's different. This is my career, babe. You understand." In my previous timeline, I'd understood. I'd helped him build his reputation while mine stagnated. And when I was gone, he'd taken full credit for everything we'd created together. "I want my name on it. As co-designer." "That's not how it works. The client hired me, not us. Adding your name would look unprofessional." "Then I'm not helping anymore." Daniel's face went through several expressions: confusion, frustration, calculation. "Are you seriously going to make this difficult 3 days before your sister's engagement party? The one we're co-hosting. Victoria's engagement party. To Marcus Chun, a doctor she'd been dating for 6 months. In my previous life, I'd helped plan every detail while working on Daniel's project. The party had been perfect. 2 days later, driving home from the venue after final setup, a drunk driver had hit my car head-on. I'd spent 8 years in a coma while Victoria married Marcus, had his baby, and eventually started visiting Daniel more than she visited me. Within a year, Marcus had divorced her. Within 2 years, she and Daniel were dating. Within 3 years, they were married. And I'd heard every conversation leading up to it. Trapped in my hospital bed, aware of every word, powerless to stop them. "Elena? Did you hear me? The engagement party. I heard you. And I'm not helping with that either." "What's gotten into you? You've been acting strange all week." "I've been thinking about what I want. And it's not to be your unpaid assistant or my sister's party planner. This is about credit on the project, isn't it? Fine. I'll mention you in the thank yous. Happy? No. I want my name on it as co-designer or I walk." Daniel stood up, anger flashing across his face. "You're being unreasonable. This is my commission. My reputation on the line. Your job is to support me, not make demands." There it was. The truth he usually kept buried under pet names and promises. "My job is to support you?" That's what partners do. They support each other's dreams. And who supports mine? I do. I'm always telling you your design work is great, that you should pursue bigger projects. But not this one. Not anything that might compete with you or require actual partnership. Just the projects that don't threaten your spotlight. That's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. Which is why I'm done. I want you out of my apartment by the end of the week. Daniel's mouth fell open. You're breaking up with me? Over asking for credit? Are you insane? I'm protecting myself. Get out. This is my apartment too. It's my apartment that your name isn't on the lease for. Out. Now. I'd learned one thing from my previous life. Document everything. I'd already transferred his name off every shared account, changed every password, and consulted a lawyer about eviction procedures. Daniel left that night, furious and threatening. I blocked his number and called my parents. Elena? It's late, honey. I broke up with Daniel, and I'm not co-hosting Victoria's engagement party. I need you to know before she calls you crying. What happened? He was using me. For my design skills, my connections, my apartment, my emotional labor. And I'm done. My mother was quiet for a long moment. Honey, Victoria is going to be upset. She's been planning this party for months. Then she can plan the rest herself. That's not very sisterly. Neither is what's coming if I stay with Daniel. Trust me, please. Something in my voice must have convinced her. Okay, we trust you. But your sister won't understand. I know. Victoria called 20 minutes later, hysterical. Elena, what the hell? Daniel just called saying you kicked him out and you're not helping with my party. That's correct. Why? What did he do? He was using me. I'm done being used. Used? He loved you. You two were perfect together. And now you're ruining my engagement party. Because of some fight. Victoria, hire a planner. You can afford it. That's not the point. You promised. We've been planning this together for months. I can't do it alone. In my previous life, I'd caved. Promised to help. Driven myself to exhaustion making her party perfect. And then I'd nearly died, spent 8 years in a coma, and listened to her marry my fiancé. You'll figure it out. I have to go. Elena Marie Martinez, if you hang up on me. I hung up. My phone exploded with calls and texts, Victoria, Daniel, my mother, mutual friends. I silenced it all, and went to bed. The next morning, I called my boss at the interior design firm where I worked. Robert? It's Elena. I need to talk about the Westbrook project. The hotel renovation? What about it? I want lead designer. Full credit. My name on the final presentations. Elena, you're talented, but you're still junior. I've been here 5 years. I've assisted on 20 major projects. I'm ready to lead. And if you won't give me this one, I'm taking my portfolio to Harrison Associates. Harrison Associates was our biggest competitor. Robert knew I'd had offers. That's quite an ultimatum. It's not an ultimatum. It's a boundary. I've been supporting other designers long enough. I want my own projects. Robert was quiet for a moment. The Westbrook project is yours. But Elena, if this fails. It won't. Send me the files. I spent the next 2 days working obsessively on the Westbrook Hotel. In my previous life, I'd been the assistant on this project, doing most of the design work while the lead designer took credit. The project had won awards. This time it would win awards with my name on it. Victoria showed up at my apartment on day 3. The day I was supposed to die. Elena, open this door right now. I opened it. Victoria stood there, furious, with our mother behind her looking worried. We need to talk, Victoria said. About what? About you sabotaging my engagement party. About you breaking up with Daniel for no reason. About you acting like a selfish brat. Are you done? No. You promised to help me. You committed. And now I have 3 days and no venue coordinator and no final decorations and Daniel is devastated and Mom thinks you've had some kind of breakdown. I'm not having a breakdown. I'm having boundaries. Boundaries? This is my engagement party. This is supposed to be the happiest time of my life and you're ruining it. Then hire someone. You have money. That's not the point. You're my sister. You're supposed to be there for me. I looked at Victoria. Beautiful, dramatic, self-centered Victoria who'd spent our entire lives being the favorite child, the pretty one, the one everyone helped while expecting nothing in return. And I remembered lying in that hospital bed, aware but trapped, listening to her tell Daniel how hard it was to visit me, How draining it was to see me like that. How she wished I'd just die so everyone could move on. I'm not going to your party, Victoria. I'm not helping you plan it. I'm not fixing your problems. Find someone else. Someone else? You're my sister. Then act like you remember that when things get hard. Not just when you need something. Victoria's face crumpled. I can't believe you're doing this to me. She left with our mother, both of them in tears. I felt nothing. That evening, I got a call from Marcus, Victoria's fiancé. Elena? It's Marcus Chen. Victoria's been crying all day. She says you're not coming to the party. That's correct. Can I ask why? She seems to think it's about Daniel, but she won't explain. It's complicated. She says Daniel is devastated. That you broke up with him out of nowhere. I thought about Marcus. In my previous timeline, he'd married Victoria, had a baby, gotten divorced within a year. I'd never known why. I'd been in a coma. But I remembered his voice at my bedside once, talking to a nurse. I made a mistake. I should have seen it sooner. But I was dazzled by her beauty and missed everything else. Marcus, can I give you some advice? Okay. Pay attention to how Victoria treats people when she's not getting what she wants. How she treats service workers, family members, anyone who can't do something for her. That's who she really is. That's a strange thing to say about your sister. It's the truth. Do with it what you want. I hung up before he could respond. The day I should have died came and went. No drive to the venue. No final setup. No car accident. I stayed home, worked on the Westbrook project, and let Victoria handle her own crisis. She managed. Hired a planner, threw together a party, and got engaged publicly with Marcus in front of 200 guests. I saw the photos on social media, Victoria beaming, Marcus smiling tightly, everything looking perfect. And I was alive. Awake. In control of my own life for the first time. Daniel tried to contact me repeatedly. I blocked everything. Victoria didn't speak to me for 2 months. And I threw myself into the Westbrook project. The design came together beautifully. Hotel lobby with the clear story windows I'd specified. Guest rooms with the custom millwork I'd designed. Restaurant spaces that flowed like water. All of it mine. All of it with my name on it. The presentation to the client happened 3 months after I should have been in a coma. Robert came with me, but I led the presentation. The clients loved it. Approved everything. Doubled the budget for higher-end finishes. As we left, Robert pulled me aside. Elena, that was exceptional. I'm promoting you to senior designer. Full project lead on everything going forward. Thank you. I should have done it years ago. You've been carrying this firm. It was the first time anyone had acknowledged it. 6 months after my non-accident, Daniel showed up at my office. Elena, please. Can we talk? No. 5 minutes. Please. I've been trying to reach you for months. I looked at him, handsome, charming Daniel who'd built his career on my uncredited work, and then married my sister while I lay in a coma. You have 3 minutes. We sat in a conference room. Daniel looked terrible, thinner, tired, desperate. I made a mistake. Breaking up was my fault. I should have given you credit on the project. I should have valued your work. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. That's all you're going to say. What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That we should try again? I want you to give us another chance. I love you. I've been miserable without you. You love me or you love what I did for you. That's not fair. It's completely fair. You took my design work and called it yours. You lived in my apartment rent-free. You expected me to manage your entire life while pursuing none of my own goals. That's not love. That's exploitation. I didn't see it that way. That's the problem. You didn't see it at all. Your 3 minutes are up. Don't contact me again. I left him sitting there. 1 year after my non-accident, the Westbrook Hotel opened. It was featured in Architectural Digest, Interior Design Magazine, and won a regional design award. My name was on everything. At the award ceremony, I ran into Daniel. He was there with a different woman, younger, eager, hanging on his every word. She looked the way I must have looked 2 years ago. Elena. Congratulations on the award. Thank you. Your hotel is beautiful. I saw the photos. Your best work. Yes, it is. I'm working on a new project. Mixed-use development downtown. I could use someone with your expertise. No. I give you credit this time. I learned my lesson. I don't doubt it. But I'm not interested in helping you ever again. Good luck. I walked away. He didn't follow. 18 months after my non-accident, Victoria called. Elena? It's me. I know. Can we talk? In person. We met at a coffee shop. Victoria looked older, tired, less polished than usual. I owe you an apology, she said. For what? For expecting you to drop everything for my engagement party. For getting angry when you had boundaries. For not understanding why you left Daniel. What changed? Victoria laughed bitterly. Marcus and I broke up. I'm sorry. Don't be. You tried to warn me. That thing you said about watching how someone treats people when they're not getting what they want. I should have listened. What happened? He wasn't who I thought he was. Or maybe I wasn't who he thought I was. Either way, we weren't compatible. And I spent 6 months planning a wedding that's not happening now. That must be hard. It is. But you know what's harder? Realizing that I've spent my whole life expecting everyone to drop everything for me. Mom, Dad, you especially you. And I never appreciated it. Never even acknowledged it. Just expected it. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. Really sorry. For the engagement party, for all the years before that. For making your life about serving mine. You were right to set boundaries. I just wasn't mature enough to understand it then. I looked at my sister, actually looked at her, and saw something new. Humility. Self-awareness. The beginning of growth. Thank you for saying that. Can we try again? Being sisters, I mean. Real sisters, not the version where you do everything and I take it for granted. Maybe. It'll take time. I know. I'm willing to work for it. We talked for 2 hours. Real conversation, not Victoria monologuing while I listened. She asked about my work, my life, my projects. Actually listened to the answers. It was the first real conversation we'd had in years. 2 years after my non-accident, I was at a design conference when someone tapped my shoulder. Elena Martinez? I turned. A man about 40, professional, friendly smile. Yes. James Rodriguez. I'm a developer. I saw your Westbrook project and I'm impressed. I have a proposal for you. I'm listening. I'm developing a mixed-use property downtown. Residential retail office space. It's a $20 million project and I need someone who can handle the full interior scope. You interested? Very. Send me the details and I'll put together a proposal. There's one complication. Daniel Wright is the architect of record. I heard you two used to be engaged. Is that going to be a problem? I thought about Daniel. About the years I'd spent supporting him. About the project I'd helped design that he'd taken full credit for. About lying in a hospital bed listening to him marry my sister. It's not a problem. I'm a professional. I can work with anyone. Good. Because Wright specifically requested you. Said you two did great work together, and he trusts your vision. Of course he did. The project kicked off 3 months later. First meeting with the full team. Daniel, me, the developer, structural engineers, contractors. Daniel arrived early. Elena. It's good to see you. Daniel. James told me you were considering the project. I'm glad you accepted. It's a good opportunity. It is. And I'm hoping we can work together professionally. Put the past behind us. The past is behind us. This is work. Exactly. Just work. No personal complications. The meeting went well. My design vision aligned with Daniel's architectural concept. We presented a unified front to the developer. But afterward, Daniel pulled me aside. Can we grab coffee? Talk about the project timeline? We can talk here. I was hoping for somewhere more private. This is fine. Daniel's smile tightened. Elena, I'm trying to be professional. To work with you as a colleague. Can you meet me halfway? I am meeting you halfway. We're working on the same project. We'll coordinate when necessary. But we're not friends. We're not having coffee. We're professional associates. That's the boundary. You're still angry about what happened between us. I'm not angry. I'm protecting my time and energy. There's a difference. Over the next 6 months, we worked together efficiently. Daniel would send architectural drawings. I'd respond with interior specifications. We'd have video calls with the developer and team. Everything professional, nothing personal. But Daniel kept pushing, suggesting lunch meetings, asking about my personal life, trying to recapture some version of our old dynamic. I shut it down every time. 8 months into the project, Daniel showed up at my office unannounced. Elena, we need to talk. About the project? About us. There is no us. There's a project we're both working on professionally. I can't keep pretending I don't still have feelings for you. These past months, working together, seeing your brilliance every day, I remember why I fell in love with you. You fell in love with what I could do for you, not with me. That's not true. Daniel, listen carefully. I am not interested in rekindling anything. Not romance, not friendship, not anything beyond professional collaboration. That door is permanently closed. Because of one fight about credit, you're going to throw away everything we had. We didn't have everything. We had an imbalanced relationship where I gave and you took. And I'm done with that pattern. You've changed. You're harder now. Less warm. I'm boundaried. There's a difference. And yes, I've changed. I stopped accepting crumbs and started demanding respect. If that's too hard for you, find another interior designer. I don't want another designer. I want you. Both for the project and for my life. You can have me for the project. That's all you're getting. Daniel left angry. But he didn't fire me, he couldn't, not without explaining to James Rodriguez why. And the project was going too well. 1 year after my non-accident, Victoria called with news. Elena? I'm dating someone new. That's great. It's Marcus's best friend. Adam. We've been seeing each other for 3 months. I felt cold. Marcus's best friend? I know it's complicated. But Adam is nothing like Marcus. He's kind, thoughtful, actually listens to me. I'm really happy. In my previous timeline, Victoria had married Daniel. Had a baby with him. Built a life in my apartment while I lay in a coma. Was she going to do the same thing with Adam? Marry my ex's best friend? Create the same tangled web of betrayal? Victoria, I need to ask you something. Okay. If something happened to me, if I got hurt, would you date Daniel? What? No. Why would you even ask that? Just answer. Would you? No. Of course not. Elena, where is this coming from? I need to know. If I was gone, if I couldn't stop you, would you take my life? Elena, you're scaring me. What's going on? I couldn't tell her about the other timeline. About lying in a hospital bed listening to her rationalize stealing my fiancé. About her voice saying, Elena would want us to be happy. She'd understand. Promise me. Whatever happens, you won't date Daniel. You won't marry him. You won't take what was mine. I promise. Elena, seriously, what's happening? Nothing. I just needed to hear you say it. 15 months after my non-accident, the downtown project neared completion. Daniel and I had somehow maintained a professional relationship, though he still pushed boundaries constantly. The final reveal was scheduled for the developer and potential tenants. Everything needed to be perfect. The night before, Daniel called. Elena, we did it. The project looks incredible. It does. I couldn't have done it without you. Your interior work elevated everything I designed. We make a great team. We work well together professionally. Is that really all this is to you? All I am? Just a professional colleague. Yes. I don't believe you. I think you still care about me. I think you're just afraid of getting hurt again. Daniel, I'm going to say this one final time. I don't have feelings for you. I don't want to date you. I don't want to be friends. I want to finish this project, collect my fee, and never work with you again. You're serious? Completely. Then I guess I've been wasting my time. Yes, you have. The grand reveal happened the next day. The space looked stunning. Daniel's clean architectural lines perfectly complemented by my warm, sophisticated interior design. James Rodriguez was thrilled. Pre-leasing numbers were through the roof. At the reception afterward, James pulled me aside. Elena, I have 3 more properties I'm developing. I want you as lead designer on all of them. I'd be honored. And I want someone else as architect. Daniel's good, but he's been unprofessional, pushing personal issues into work conversations. I need someone more focused. I can recommend several excellent architects. Perfect. Can you send me your top 3? I did. None of them were Daniel. 2 years after my non-accident, I stood in my new office, the one I'd designed myself after opening my own firm. Elena Martinez Design. Senior designers on staff. Multiple projects running simultaneously. My name on everything. Victoria came to the opening party. I'm proud of you, she said. Thank you. You were right, you know. Back when you set all those boundaries. I thought you were being selfish. But you were saving yourself. If you'd kept helping everyone else, you'd never have built this. No, I wouldn't have. Can I ask you something? Sure. That day you asked me to promise not to date Daniel. Why did you think I would? I looked at my sister, trying to decide how much truth to share. In another version of my life, I was in a car accident. I was in a coma for 8 years. And while I was gone, you married Daniel and had his baby and lived in my apartment. Victoria stared at me. That's insane. Probably. But it felt real. And I needed to know that this time, if something happened to me, you wouldn't take my life. Elena, even at my worst, I would never. You would have. The old you would have rationalized it. Convinced yourself I'd want you to be happy. That Daniel needed someone. That the baby needed a mother. You would have made it sound selfless. Victoria was quiet for a long time. The old me probably would have. But I'm not her anymore. Thanks to you. 3 years after my non-accident, I was at an industry awards ceremony when I saw Daniel across the room. He looked older, tired, less polished. Alone. He saw me and started walking over. I braced myself. Elena, congratulations on the award. Your firm is doing well. Thank you. I saw your lead designer on the Harbor District renovation. That's a huge project. It is. I submitted a proposal to be the architect. Did you see it? I did. We went with someone else. Can I ask why? Their vision aligned better with our design concept. Or because it wasn't me? It was a professional decision based on project fit. Daniel laughed bitterly. Right. Professional. That's what you always say. Because it's true. You destroyed my career, Elena. James Rodriguez blacklisted me. Won't return my calls. Your new projects all use different architects. Everyone in the industry knows you won't work with me. I didn't destroy your career. I just stopped building it for you. That's the same thing. No, it's really not. You're perfectly capable of succeeding on your own. You just have to actually do the work instead of taking credit for someone else's. I never took credit. You did. Repeatedly. For years. And when I stopped allowing it, you couldn't maintain the same level of success. That's not my fault. That's yours. I loved you. I would have married you, built a life with you. You loved what I did for you. The design work, the connections, the emotional support. You loved having an unpaid assistant who thought she was a partner. That's not love. That's exploitation. Daniel's face went through several emotions. So that's it? You've decided I'm irredeemable? I've decided you're not my problem. You can be redeemed or not. That's your choice. But it has nothing to do with me. You're cold. I'm protected. There's a difference. I walked away. He didn't follow. 5 years after my non-accident, Victoria called with big news. I'm engaged. For real this time. To Adam. Yes. We've been together 4 years. He proposed last night. I'm happy for you. I want you to be my maid of honor. And before you say no, I'm not asking you to plan anything. I'm asking you to stand next to me because you're my sister and I love you and I've learned how to appreciate you. I'd be honored. Really, really. Victoria's wedding was simple, genuine, focused on the relationship instead of the spectacle. Adam was kind, steady, nothing like Marcus or Daniel. He treated Victoria like a partner, not a prize. And Victoria had changed. She helped set up her own wedding, thanked vendors personally, treated everyone with respect, had become someone worthy of Adam's love. At the reception, she pulled me aside. Thank you. For what? For loving me enough to set boundaries. For not enabling me. For forcing me to grow up. I wouldn't be here, wouldn't be this person, if you hadn't walked away when I needed you to. You're welcome. And I'm sorry. For all the years I expected you to sacrifice yourself for me. For not seeing how much you were giving until you stopped giving it. For taking you for granted. I forgive you. We hugged, and I realized the sister I'd always wanted had been there all along. She just needed space to become herself. 8 years after my non-accident, the year I would have died in the other timeline, I stood at the window of my office looking at the city skyline I'd helped shape. 7 buildings bore my design work. Dozens more had interiors I'd influenced. My phone rang. Unknown number. Elena Martinez. Elena, it's Marcus Chen, Victoria's ex-fiancé. I remember. I hope this isn't strange, but I needed to call. To thank you. Thank me for what? For the advice you gave me. About watching how Victoria treated people. I almost didn't listen. But then I saw it. The way she spoke to waiters, how she treated her family, how she expected everyone to revolve around her. And I ended it. That must have been hard. It was. But you saved me from a terrible marriage. And I wanted you to know that. You're welcome. But Victoria's different now. She's grown a lot. I'm glad. She deserves happiness. But not with me. We weren't right for each other. Thanks to you, I figured that out before it was too late. After we hung up, I thought about the other timeline. The one where Marcus had married Victoria anyway. Where he'd been miserable. Where he'd eventually divorced her and she'd turned to Daniel. In this timeline, everyone was better off. Marcus had avoided a bad marriage. Victoria had grown up. Daniel had been forced to develop his own skills. And I had saved myself before anyone could destroy me. 10 years after my non-accident, I was interviewed for a design magazine profile. The journalist asked about my success. What's your secret? How did you build one of the most successful design firms in the city in just a decade? I stopped giving away my work for free. I started valuing my time and expertise. And I learned that helping yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Can you elaborate? For years, I helped other people build their dreams while mine sat unfinished. I worked on other designers' projects, supported other people's goals, made myself small so others could be big. And then I realized, if I kept doing that, I'd spend my whole life as someone's assistant. So I stopped. Just like that. Just like that. I set boundaries. I demanded credit for my work. I walked away from relationships where I was giving more than I got. And I built something that was actually mine. Do you have any regrets? I thought about the question. About Daniel and Victoria and the life I'd almost lived. About 8 years in a coma. Aware but trapped, listening to them steal everything I'd worked for. No. No regrets. I chose myself. And that was the best decision I ever made. The article ran with photos of my work, my firm, my team. It ended with a quote they pulled from our interview. The greatest act of love is sometimes refusing to be sacrificed. Especially when the people asking for your sacrifice wouldn't do the same for you. Daniel emailed after the article published. A long message about how he'd grown, changed, understood now what he'd lost. How he'd been in therapy. How he'd love to get coffee and talk about everything. I deleted it without responding. Victoria called. I saw the article. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. That quote at the end. About refusing to be sacrificed. That was about me, wasn't it? It was about everyone who expected me to give more than they were willing to give back. I was one of them. Yes, you were. I'm glad you stopped. I'm glad you chose yourself. Even though it hurt at the time, it was the wake-up call I needed. I'm glad too. 12 years after my non-accident, I was at a design expo when someone approached me. Elena Martinez? I'm Jennifer Kim. I'm a design student at State University. I wrote my thesis on your work. That's flattering. I wanted to thank you. Your story, about setting boundaries, about demanding credit, about walking away from exploitation, it changed how I approach my career. I almost accepted an unpaid internship because I thought it would lead somewhere. But after reading about you, I realized I was worth more. So I demanded payment. And I got it. I'm glad. You probably hear this all the time, but you're a role model. You showed women like me that we don't have to give away our work to be respected, that we can demand what we're worth and still succeed. That's powerful. After she left, I thought about the other Elena, the one who'd given everything away, who'd helped Daniel build his career while hers stagnated, who'd planned Victoria's perfect party while her own life fell apart, who'd died in a care facility after 8 years in a coma, aware of every betrayal, powerless to stop any of it. That Elena had loved completely, had sacrificed everything, had given until there was nothing left to give, and she'd been destroyed for it. This Elena, this version, had loved too, just smarter, had given but with boundaries, had cared, but not at the cost of herself. And she'd built an empire. 15 years after my non-accident, I received an unexpected call. Elena Martinez? Speaking. This is Dr. Sarah Williams from City General Hospital. I'm calling about a patient, Daniel Wright. You're listed as his emergency contact. My blood went cold. I haven't been his emergency contact in 15 years. There must be a mistake. He never updated his paperwork. Ms. Martinez, Mr. Wright was in a serious car accident 3 days ago. He's in intensive care. We've been unable to reach any family members and you're the only contact we have. What's his condition? Critical. He's on life support. We need someone to make medical decisions if he doesn't improve. I sat down heavily. I'm not family. I can't make those decisions. You're all we have. Can you at least come to the hospital? We need to discuss his care. I drove to the hospital in a daze. Daniel. Car accident. Life support. It was almost poetic. The accident that had destroyed me in another timeline was now destroying him in this one. Dr. Williams met me in the ICU. Thank you for coming. Mr. Wright's injuries are severe. Traumatic brain injury, internal bleeding. We've stabilized him, but the next 48 hours are critical. Does he have any family? His mother passed away 2 years ago. Father is estranged. No siblings. No spouse. The girlfriend he was with during the accident left the hospital yesterday and hasn't returned. Of course she had. Daniel attracted women who would leave when things got hard, just like he'd planned to leave me if I'd been the one in that hospital bed. Can I see him? Dr. Williams led me to his room. Daniel lay surrounded by machines, tubes, monitors. Unconscious. Broken. The way I would have been if I hadn't walked away 15 years ago. I stood there looking at him and felt nothing. No satisfaction at his suffering. No desire for revenge. No lingering love or anger, or anything at all. Just the quiet knowledge that I'd made the right choice. Ms. Martinez, if he doesn't wake up in the next few days, someone will need to make decisions about his care. Long-term life support, feeding tubes, potential transfer to a care facility. Are you willing to be that person? I thought about the other timeline. About lying in a hospital bed for 8 years. About Daniel marrying my sister, living in my apartment, building his career on my work while I slowly died. No. I'm not willing. He needs real family or a legal guardian. I'm just someone he used to date. I shouldn't have been on his paperwork at all. I understand. We'll work with the hospital's legal team to assign a guardian. Can you do me a favor? What's that? Make sure whoever gets assigned actually cares about his quality of life. Not just keeping him alive, but making sure he'd want to be kept alive. He deserves that much. Dr. Williams nodded. I'll make a note. I left the hospital and called Victoria. Daniel was in a car accident. He's in ICU. Critical condition. Oh my God. Is he going to be okay? They don't know. He might not wake up. Victoria was quiet for a moment. How are you feeling? Nothing. I don't feel anything. Is that terrible? No. It's healthy. He's not your responsibility. He hasn't been for 15 years. The hospital asked me to make medical decisions. I said no. Good. That's not your burden to carry. Victoria, if it had been me in that accident 15 years ago, would you have married him? Elena. I need to know the truth. Victoria sighed. If you'd asked me that 15 years ago, honestly, maybe. I was selfish enough, shallow enough. I might have rationalized it. But the person I am now? Never. I would have visited you every day, fought for your care, protected your life, because you taught me what loyalty actually means. Thank you for being honest. Are you going to visit him again? No. There's nothing there for me. No closure to find. No forgiveness to give or receive. Just a person I used to know who made choices that led him here. Then don't go. You don't owe him anything. I didn't go back. Daniel remained on life support for 6 weeks. The hospital assigned a legal guardian who eventually made the decision to transfer him to a long-term care facility. I received one update from Dr. Williams. He's stable but unresponsive. No signs of consciousness. We're not expecting him to wake up. 8 years later, 23 years after my non-accident, the exact amount of time I would have spent in a coma and dead in the other timeline, I received a letter. It was from a woman named Rachel Wright, Daniel's cousin. She'd tracked me down through the hospital records. The letter explained that Daniel had passed away 2 weeks ago. Pneumonia. His body had finally given up after years in a care facility. Rachel wrote, I found your name in his old paperwork. You were listed as his emergency contact even though you hadn't been together in decades. I did some research and found out you're a successful designer. Daniel never achieved the same success after you left. His career stagnated. His relationships failed. And then the accident happened. I wanted you to know that he talked about you constantly before the accident. Told anyone who would listen that you were the one who got away. That he'd made the biggest mistake of his life letting you go. I don't know if that matters to you, but I thought you should know. He spent the last 8 years of his life in a coma. Maybe in some strange way, he understood what he'd put you through in some other version of events. Maybe it was justice. Or maybe it was just tragic irony. Either way, he's at peace now. I hope you are too. I read the letter 3 times, then filed it away. Daniel had spent 8 years in a coma. The exact amount of time I would have spent if I'd driven to that venue, attended that party, lived that other life. The universe had a dark sense of symmetry. But I wasn't in a coma. I was alive. Successful. Surrounded by people who valued me. Living a life I'd built through boundaries and self-respect. That evening, Victoria came over with Adam and their 2 kids. Aunt Elena, can you show us your new project? Their daughter Maya asked. Named after me. 8 years old. Bright and curious and loved. Sure, sweetheart. I pulled up the renderings on my tablet. A sustainable housing development. Mixed income. Beautiful design that served people who actually needed it, not just wealthy clients. It's pretty. Maya said. Thank you. I'm proud of this one. After the kids went to play, Victoria sat next to me. I heard about Daniel. Rachel sent me a letter too. How do you feel about it? Sad. Not for who he became, but for who he could have been if he'd made different choices. And grateful. That you walked away when you did. That you taught me to walk away too when I needed to. Do you think about Marcus? About what would have happened if you'd married him? Sometimes. But I'm glad I didn't. I wouldn't have this life. These kids. Adam. I would have been miserable. Do you ever wonder about alternate timelines? About the versions of ourselves making different choices? Victoria looked at me strangely. Sometimes. Why? Just thinking about how one choice changes everything. How the version of you that married Marcus would be completely different from the version sitting here now. The version that married Marcus would have been a worse person. Less mature. Less happy. Thank God that's not who I am. Thank God, I echoed. 25 years after my non-accident, I stood in front of a room full of design students giving a lecture. The most important lesson I can teach you, I said, is that your work has value. Your time has value. Your expertise has value. And you should never, ever give it away for free to someone who won't acknowledge what they're taking. A hand went up. But what about collaboration? About supporting your partner or friends? Collaboration is mutual. Both people contribute, and both people get credit. What I'm talking about is exploitation disguised as collaboration, where one person does the work and the other person takes the credit. That's not partnership. That's theft. How do you know the difference? Ask yourself, if positions were reversed, would they do for me what I'm doing for them? If the answer is no, you're being exploited. Another hand. What if walking away means losing the relationship? Then you're not losing a relationship. You're escaping exploitation. Real relationships survive boundaries. Exploitative ones end when the person being exploited stops allowing it. And that's not a loss. That's freedom. After the lecture, a young woman approached me. Ms. Martinez, I have to tell you, your story saved my life. How so? I was engaged to someone like your ex-fiancé. He was using my thesis research for his own project, taking credit for my work. I was helping him build his career while mine suffered. And then I read your interview from 10 years ago about refusing to be sacrificed. And I left him, finished my research, published under my own name, got my PhD. I'm a professor now. All because you showed me it was possible. I'm glad. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Do you ever regret it? Walking away from him? From the life you would have had? I thought about the question. About Daniel dying in a care facility after 8 years in a coma. About Victoria growing into someone genuinely kind. About my firm, my team, the dozens of buildings bearing my design. About the other Elena, who'd sacrificed everything and died with nothing. No, I said. I don't regret it for a second. I chose myself. And that choice gave me everything I have now. 30 years after my non-accident, the age I would have been when I died in the other timeline, I stood at the opening of my largest project yet. A museum of contemporary art. 15,000 square feet of gallery space. My design. My vision. My name on the dedication plaque. Victoria was there with her family. My parents now in their 80s. Colleagues. Clients. Students I'd mentored. Friends I'd made when I finally had energy for friendship instead of giving it all away to people who didn't value it. The museum director gave a speech. Elena Martinez has defined the aesthetic of this city for 3 decades. Her work is bold, innovative, deeply human. She's not just a designer. She's a visionary who understands that spaces shape lives. We're honored to have her design our new home. Afterward, Victoria pulled me aside. I need to tell you something. What? I found your old journals. From before the accident that didn't happen. You were going to help me with my engagement party. You were working on Daniel's project. You were planning a life that would have destroyed you. And then something changed. You walked away from all of it. I never understood why until now. What do you understand now? That you saved yourself. That you saw something coming, maybe not literally, but intuitively, and you protected yourself. And in doing that, you saved me too. You taught me how to value myself, how to set boundaries, how to choose partners who see me as an equal, not a servant. Mom and Dad too, they learned from watching you. We all became better people because you refused to be sacrificed. I'm glad. Did you really have some kind of vision? About what would happen if you'd stayed on that path? I looked at my sister, at the woman she'd become, at the life she'd built through growth instead of exploitation. Yes, I saw exactly what would happen, and I chose differently. What did you see? I saw a car accident on the way to your party. I saw 8 years in a coma. I saw you marrying Daniel while I was gone. I saw dying alone, aware of every betrayal, powerless to stop it. Victoria's face went pale. That's horrifying. It was. But it didn't happen. Because I chose myself first. Before your party. Before Daniel's career. Before anyone else's needs. I chose me. I'm sorry I ever made you feel like you had to choose between yourself and helping me. You didn't make me feel that way. I allowed myself to feel that way. That was my choice too. But I learned. And I changed. And everything got better. We stood together, looking at the museum I'd created. The culmination of 30 years of choosing myself. Do you think the other version of you is proud? Victoria asked. The one who didn't make it? I think the other version of me is the reason this version exists. She sacrificed everything and got nothing. I learned from her mistakes before making them. In a way, she's why I'm here. That's beautiful. It's survival. Nothing more, nothing less. That night, alone in my apartment, I looked at my reflection in the window. 59 years old. Successful. Loved. Whole. In another timeline, I'd been dead for 28 years. In this one, I was just getting started. I opened my laptop and started designing my next project. A women's shelter. Pro bono. For women who needed a safe place to land when they finally chose themselves. Because that's what I'd learned in 30 years. You can't save everyone. You can't sacrifice yourself into making others whole. You can't love someone into valuing you. But you can save yourself. You can set boundaries. You can walk away from exploitation. You can build a life that's actually yours. And when you do, you become living proof that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's the only choice that matters.